Hey guys, what's going on? Gonna make another daily video, but this time on the stuff that happened today. I want to make one on BJDX and I want to make one on AVGR. I'm mostly gonna focus on BJDX because it's the one I traded. I didn't feel like paying for shares of AVGR. Uh, I got BJDX shares really early, super cheap, only 3 cents because I saw the move. And there's a lot of stuff to learn about low floats, especially these tiny floats. You know, this is another sub 1 million float stock. Um, it's been rigged in the past, rigged recently. But, tiny floats, um, previous bag holders, they matter, but I really just like to read the chart liquidity. I like to read the volume of what's happening in the pre-market, what's happening intraday, what type of market cycle we're in. And that type of thing. So because tiny floats, somebody comes in, they grab up, half the float, um, and they move the stock how they want, right? So um, I'm actually going to show you some of, I'm in a Discord room, and I also DM a lot of friends who are short sellers. Who are really good, and we like to bounce off ideas off each other. And I'll show you some of the stuff I was seeing in real time, some of the calls I was making, and how it relates to the chart here. So BJDX is really interesting because I noticed right away, I saw this pop because, the pre-market scanner was pretty much dead up to this point. I saw this pop, and I noticed that the volume here is very consistent. You get like 60K, 40K, 70K, 70K, 70K. And what you need to realize about manipulated low floats is in order to manipulate a stock, uh, a rigger, whoever, whether it's AC Wainwright, whether it's somebody else, has to accumulate those shares, right? That has to, a lot of times in the pre-market, there tends to be kind of two types of charts, and you have to think about them differently. There's the type of charts where, you know, you have, say 2 or 3 candles, 1 minute candles, so 2 or 3 minutes where it just pops 50, 60, 70%, pretty much because the order book is so thin that a PR comes out and a stock just goes from, 70 cents to $1.20, and it just does it in a couple minutes, right? Those can actually be great pre-market shorts because a lot of times they're just abusing the thin order book of the pre-market along with this PR to just pop a stock 50, 60, 70%. And a lot of times you get like instant traps, like in instant fades, like to the point where a lot of times those pops that happen in a few candles, almost never, the highs never get retested, right? But this is BJDX is a little different. BJDX shows very steady accumulation, right? They're starting to rig, and you see very steady volume. And when I see that on a very tiny float stock, I'm already thinking, this type of volume, this type of float, HC Wainwright's also on this one too, funny enough. This can already be manipulated. Even before the manipulated price action happens, I'm already thinking that. So, when I reserved my shares, I came into this chart thinking um, that's a possibility, and I'll show you my first little. This is my Discord. I'm on Central Time, so you have to add an hour to this to match with the market time. But as you see here, my first thing I say, steady volume and accumulation on this. Already gonna guess some rigged patterns is on it given the float and the accumulation. So I'm already thinking this is how a lot of rigged plays get started. You get this like consistent build up, this consistent volume, and then so we get the first pop, and then we get what I call the first structure, right? And something really interesting happens in this structure, right? So on rig stocks, patterns are very counterintuitive. Usually they give some type of big short pattern followed by a quick short squeeze, right? So what do we get? We get a big push. We get this nice 506 flat top, right? Nice 506 flat top. And the way a lot of rig tickers work is if retail could see the long, it's not a good long. So what they do is, they build the higher lows, they build the flat top, they do the fake breakout below high day because retail longs wants us to break high day, take some profits. They pull it below support and then they squeeze. But what's very interesting about this, um, was the level 2. Level 2 can give you a lot of insight uh, to rigged stocks and rigged behavior, right? So, funny enough, on this candle, I was just watching this, and on this candle, I actually didn't short this. Um, it pushed, it broke that 506. The high was 515, and once it broke 506, it went up a few cents, and then they started flashing 20K, 25K ask and the point of flashing a big ask at this exact moment is to force the stock to go down. Algo's trading that freak out, retail freaks out, and it causes this massive high volume dump. So if we look here, I actually think I um, took a screenshot. This was right at that. It broke that 506, and here's 25K on the ask, and here's another 20. So they're forcing the candle down, and a lot of time that is the set the short trap, right? This is actually the entire purpose of this is to get shorts in, shake out longs, and what do? They break support by a few cents. Here's the 1 minute 20, so 1 minute 9, 1 minute 20 comes right up to it. Big squeeze right here. I mean, so level 2 in this situation gives you some indication of what could happen. So we get another move. So when I trade stocks, I like to think of the structure. Like this is structure 1, short trap squeeze, and now this is structure 2, going in the market open. So the new structure starts when there's a new high day, and you get a decent pullback. If it's just going up the 1 minute 9, I don't really consider that a new structure. I consider a break of the 1 minute 9, and I'm like, okay, let's see what they're doing. And what they do is another very bullish pattern. Again, it's very counterintuitive. What they do is I never made a video on this, but it's called what I call a controlled walk down, where they purposely have lower highs, and during these lower highs, the big ask came back again. There was these 25K ask here and here at 525. They were shoving a big ask to keep the stock down in the market open. They initially show weakness, and when they bring it back up, the ask is gone. High day squeeze. So again, like higher high, lower highs, lower lows. On rate tickers, is it bullish or is it bearish? If it's going down, 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 is it bullish or bearish? It's bullish, right? Very counterintuitive. And they swipe support by a few cents. And look at the market. I always talk about market open volume, right? 870K just on this candle. This floats like 700. And it's a very bullish pattern. And again, like I was saying here, again, going in the market open, this was 6 minutes before walking open. I said they're walking it down now. Sometimes these walk downs in the market open are very strong. Like it's nothing but lower highs and lower lows into the open, right? So what I'm saying is like I've seen, and what they do is they use that market open at 9:30, 9:31 liquidity to initiate the short trap, right? So didn't take a position there either. And really, I'm just waiting for some type of price action that makes me think, okay, this structure is bullish, right? This price action is bullish. I've seen that level 2 minute before. This structure is bullish, and I'm just waiting for something that lets me think, okay, what's something that looks so bullish that every long is going to want to get in, but I think is a long trap, right? I'm waiting for them to flip the script, right? You squeeze shorts, and then eventually you go to trap longs, right? So, again, I actually thought they would squeeze here, pull it back, and push it here. They had this candle, and I actually shorted. I think it was right below 560 because sometimes you see this like it does like a big push and starts grinding higher, and it starts grinding towards highs. It stalls and pulls. I thought that was going to happen, so I took a small short, and I was like, I'll just risk high day. It lost 20 cents on it. Didn't hit this candle. Didn't hit any of these candles, and then it pulled back. So I took. I hit the market open long, and then I longed to 520, and I sold everything at high day. I made a little 50-cent scalp. So overall, and I didn't hit this long. I actually had the read, but I didn't long it because I thought it would take longer, but it'd be like that sometimes. So, so this high day pulls back, And like I said, I don't like to guess high days on rigged stocks most of the time. Like I like to wait for a structure. I like to see some bullish action, and then I like to read the tape and try to get in on what I think is a good pattern. So it pulls back, and I wanted like a bigger bounce into the 570s. I didn't get it, and then it cracks VWAP, and I'm like, well, now I have to wait because I'm not shorting. I'm not shorting here. I'm not shorting this VWAP reject. So it pulls back, and I noticed some very interesting soaking and bid support on the tape. I'm like, and I know just from this action, this stock is very manipulated, right? So I'm like, okay, what do I know about market open manipulation? I'm like, well, I know a lot of times they like to trap under VWAP, right? They pull under VWAP, make it seem super weak, and then they rotate it back above. Now that doesn't mean it's going to break high day, especially in a weaker market. We have AVGR, it's making some crazy moves, but overall, there's not like insane strength in the market. And not only that, it's already had one short trap, two short trap. In lower liquidity markets, you can only do so many traps before you flip the script, right? In higher liquidity markets, you can have 3, 4, 5, 6 pushes, like insane, like up, like 100% gapper followed by another 100% move, like stuff like that. But really, this isn't really that type of market. So, I see this big aggressive push in the VWAP rejection, and I go, oh, this is a possible what I call fake VWAP resistance, because shorts love the short in the VWAP. Shorts like who missed the move, they see VWAP get rejected, they like to go in. Oh, the stock's way. Look at the volume's decreasing. All this stuff. But if you study your tape and you study soak, you'll notice like a lot of this selling and movement is very controlled. It's like random bursts down to support, bursts up the VWAP, bursts down to support. Like it's not normal price action, right? So again, make the next call out on this. Possible under VWAP trap on what do we call it? On a VWAP trap on BJDX, because I'm like, oh, this is exactly what like manipulated soaking under VWAP looks like. And you got a big VWAP rejection. I'm like, that's really common. I've seen that over and over again. So I called it out, and a buddy of mine was like, what do you think is going to happen? Do you think it's going to squeeze high day and all this stuff? And I was like, he's like, I think it's long crowded. I don't think it's going to reach there. I said, I have no idea, but I have an alert above the VWAP high. And I'm like, what I'm going to do is going to depend on the tape and how extreme the move is. So, like, I know, the more, get back to this, the more extreme the move is from under VWAP, the weaker it is. Right? I like to see aggressive moves off of deep support. Makes me think it's weak, right? So I see this move. They swipe 5, and I actually see this rotation, and I long it. The moment this breaks 5, I long it. So I'm long 502 because I'm like, oh, this is perfect initiation for the VWAP. Squeeze. But I don't know what level it's going to go to. I just have my alert above this high, so I'm like, I know it's at least going to break that high. But I know there's 5.5. That's a psychological level. There's 5.65. That's a slower high. And then there's high day, right? So it's like there's all these levels. I'm like, I don't know how far it's going to go. I'm going to have to just see what move it does. I'm going to have to see where it stalls. I'm going to have to read the tape, and I'm just going to have to make a call, right? So what actually happened is the moment this broke into 5.35, I actually sold my long because I knew the edge was on the short side. There's many times where like you keep holding on to your long, you sell half of it, and then you think, oh, I'm at least going to hold for 5.7s or something like that. And then the 5 out of 5 star short comes, and you missed a whole short because you're holding your long. So I've had that happen to me many times on my longs. So in this case, I just sold my long, and then I'm sorry, my baby. Sold my long, and I got ready for the shorts. I'm like, okay, like what's gonna 5.5 is a good level. Maybe it's going to break 5.5. So I see the pullback, and I see a little. I notice this is 5.46. That's the high. And I'm like, okay, let me see the pullback, and let me see if it makes another push above 5.5. And a lot of times, what happens is it makes a little. It breaks like the high of the push, and then stalls, right? And I was really hoping to break 5.5 because I could get a nice read. Um, like I knew if 5.5 rejected here and it started showing weakness, um, that'd be a good short. And I was actually prepared to just smack it above 5.5. I'm like, maybe they just swipe 5.5 and bring it back down. And if the tape stays strong, I'll get out and reevaluate. But if it doesn't, if it pulls back and it's really weak, then that's a good. Then I have an entry above 5.5. It's a good entry. I like how aggressive this move is. You see me talk about on Twitter, aggressive moves off deep support are weak. You just don't know what levels they're going to. I was at least looking at this level, but this stalled right away. This broke this 5.46 and stalled right away. And I saw the ass stay heavy. I saw the volume decrease. I saw the bids get taken out. And I just made a judgment call. I was like, I just got to go in now. Like, I'll just go in now and I'll risk 15, 20 cents. And if this wants to keep, if this wants to bounce on Vwap and keep squeezing, I'll take a little loss and then I'll reevaluate. Maybe it breaks his 5.65, and I'll maybe get another entry at a higher position, right? I'll do stuff like that. I don't really trade with super wide risk, right? I'll assume this structure is not going to go any higher, and if it does, I'll get out, come back in later. That's how I trade. But yeah, so I shorted on this pullback at 10.11. 5.34 was my average, and this showed weakness, and I knew if this hard cracked VWAP, that was a great long trap. Like just classic short trap push, aggressive initiation under VWAP trap, squeeze onto VWAPs, people get longs to chase, and that's the end of the liquidity move. It pulls back down, liquidity leaves, and we get a nice fade to the 5-minute 200. I actually got out. Well, I took some profits on the first like big crack in the 4.6, but I pretty much got out all in the 4.3s. Made about I don't know 85 cents a share on the trade, which wasn't bad. Wasn't bad for a very good read on the manip, on the liquidity move, reading the tape, in the pull, right? And now look at this. This is actually kind of basing here. This could go on a nice multi-day run. Look at that. This could if AC Wainwright wants to turn on the Jets, they can really push this up a little higher. So AVGR, I'll spend less time on this because I didn't trade it. Only things I want to kind of mention. On super rigged tickers that are super extended, a lot of times pre-market dumps like this are super strong, right? Because a lot of shorts will be like, I'm going to try to get the first red day. It's going to be first red day. UCAR on June 2nd was very similar. And what they do is they abuse that. They abuse that to give all these extremely bearish patterns. Like look at this big clear out, and then they squeeze. And there's so much interesting stuff happening. This is like pure manip reads, man. Like anything that looks strong is weak. Anything that looks weak is strong. Just great reads. So I'll probably go over it another day. I thought BJDX would take like 10 minutes. It already took 17. But this is an interesting one. I'll have to cover this a different time. But yeah, classic, fake weakness to squeeze early shorts. Again, more counterintuitive stuff, right? Big weakness into the open, super strong. Big strength into the open, a lot of times super weak, right? Right? It's that's how low floats trade. You really have to develop, just like BJDX. You really have to develop that counterintuitive mentality, right? If everyone's thinking something's super strong. If everyone thinks this big aggressive move off of, how many longs are going to think this is going to have continuation, right? They see the big move to the left. They see the aggressiveness. They see the volume come in. How many are thinking that this is just going to base and rocket ship straight through highs, right? How many? Everybody, right? Just and all these shorts who thought this is weak, who are shorting down here, see the strength come in and like, oh, like they're all freaking out. And that's just how low floats are played. So hope that was a good one. Mostly just covered this. I probably won't even put ABGR in the in the title of the YouTube video. I'll just focus on this. Alright, hope that was a good one. See ya.